Wow, that was quite a race we just saw, wasn't it, everyone? Hey, we're back for another race. jkoper versus Paraducks, game number 2 in this best of 3 series. And we just had, if you were in chat, we just had quite a finish in that first race. 9-second difference. If you missed it, 2-hour race plus. Go back, watch it later. But for right now, we're about to start game number 2. I'm Cyclone, joined by Freda. How are you, Freda?
I'm doing pretty well. I just caught the end of that as well, and oh my, that was quite a end of the race there. For those that are just joining us, I don't know why you weren't already here, but Paraducks took the last of a two-hour and roughly 3 or 4 minute seed, and they finished about 9 seconds apart. Paraducks took the first game by a single by less than 10 seconds.
Yes, that was quite a finish, and it almost came down to the silver arrows. Turns out that jkoper had a few execution issues with the silver arrows on the Ganon fight. Otherwise, we might have had a situation where we were pretty much tied. It was that close.
Well, we're getting started off on a fun foot right here. I don't know if you saw those items, but it was a glove in the sanctuary and a flute in the house.
Wow, what a nice start that is. So the flute is going to be very quickly put into activation as soon as we get to Kakariko, but Paraducks is going to check the uncle spot first and see if there's any weapon up here to help him do the rest of the escape. But in the meantime, he gets these 2 checks out of the way, and they're not hard checks.
This is an unfortunate start for jkoper, though, with the flute being on Link and him heading pretty much straight to Kakariko. He's going to have to make an extra trip over there, and that'll lose some time.
In the meantime, we're going to get a look at the item in the mushroom spot, just some money. But since it's still early, that money is going to come in very useful. We do need money for Zora. We need money for Palace of Darkness for the digging game. So we're going to pick up some money for a little while.
And for those that are either new to the tournament or haven't heard yet, this is a tournament, or each match player can change one option for the seed between a few different options. And jkoper for this seed decided to change it to a maps and compasses shuffled seed. So basically that means all the maps and compasses are shuffled within or outside of all of the dungeons. Well, potentially outside of all of the dungeons, which gives an extra 2 items in each of the dungeons, as well as it hides the crystal requirements until you have the map for that particular dungeon.
That means it's going to be a little bit of a challenge for us doing our map check, because we're going to have to figure out which maps they pick up, look at those dungeons for the split second it's up, and figure out where it is. That's our tracker's job, obviously. Thank you to Itsu, who is doing the tracking today, by the way. And we're going to try to keep up with that. The maps and compasses rather being shuffled also gives more relevance to the dungeons. There's 2 extra items in each dungeon now. That Swamp Palace Dip now has 8 items, whereas your Thieves Town has 6. So everything has extra items here. I'm watching Blind's Hut in the meantime. We're not finding anything good so far in Blind's Hut. In fact, nothing in the first 4. Let's see what's in the back room, as it's going to pick up some of these 30 rupees under the pots. And looks like it's going to get all of the rupees there. Not bad. There's our sword.
Yep, getting all the rupees is definitely a good idea this time of the seed. Lets you make sure that you have enough for both, ideally enough for both the bottle merchant as well as buying some more bombs if you. It looks like that won't be a problem in this seed for the bombs, but at least it's guaranteed enough now for that map.
And now we have a map of Thieves Town. We can't do anything with that yet, but as soon as we get to the Dark Road, we will now know whether Thieves Town is a crystal or a pendant. That's what the map's function is in this flag set. So we'll look at that when we get to the Dark Road. In the meantime, jkoper going to the well. Paraducks will get his sword from the back of the hut. Let's see what's in the back of the well, meanwhile. Back of the well, just as useful, we have a fire rod.
So weapons aplenty early this seed. And half magic to use the fire rod. I love it.
And the ether. Ether and a map for Ganon's Tower, which is not going to tell us much of anything, to be honest. That's the earliest fire rod I've seen in about a week. That fire rod has been hiding a lot in this last week in the seeds I've been seeing.
Well, that just means Bo's going to be in a fun place to see. Seems to be one of the 2.
Didn't we have that in the last seed, though?
Last seed was the mirror, wasn't it? Of course, it's always the mirror as well, so.
We had a locked bow, I remember, in the first seed of this race. That was quite interesting to see, especially with Escape being put off by one runner in that race. I won't spoil too much more beyond that, though. jkoper is going to blow open the hole in the back of Escape, and we're going to find out what the 3 items, rather, are here. We know that the map can be anywhere. That is a map, but it's a different map. That's Turtle Rock's map.
So nothing in the back of the escape here. Like I said before, jkoper is going to find that flute as soon as he save and quits here, and will be very not happy with himself, I'm guessing. I mean, most runners will do something like this, and it's just very random happenstance if something like the flute shows up in Link's house.
Well, it's not like he put it off until an hour into the race, which would be horrible. I have seen Sanctuary accidentally put off for an hour before, and just because it was forgotten.
I've seen South put off for a while.
Yeah, I won't talk about that.
Oofed. jkoper did skip south of Kakla, didn't he? I just realized that he switched real fast. Save and quit real fast.
I don't think he did race game or library or any of that, no.
Yeah. So on the plus side, he'll be able to catch those on the way back over. Oh, he skipped the chicken hut too, apparently. Because that was a hook shot. Yeah, he's going to regret skipping that one for a little while. But hopefully he gets back there quickly, and this is part of his plan to get back there. Maybe he's hoping the Titan shows up and he has an excuse to go over there at the same time, but that'd be a bit of a gamble. On the plus side, when he gets that hook shot, he'll already have the flute activated as well. He probably won't lose much time going up to Death Mountain before activating flute, because there's no reason to walk up to Death Mountain when you already have flute in hand anyway. So looking in the library, that looked like 20 rupees on the library bookshelf. Yep. So we're not going to be worrying about bringing the boots over here to pull that off. And what's in the back of in the main escape tank? Moon Pearl! Ooh, there's the Moon Pearl. That's one of the downsides of that Uncle Start, is you can... A lot of times when you do that Uncle Start, you're not going to come back to the front of the escape for a long time, and you can miss big things like the Moon Pearl there. I know my personal like would be to find any kind of a weapon. By the way, bombs do count as a weapon. And then come to escape on that, because there's a 10 bomb pack that allows you to do the... And that's an item you can have to do the escape in standard mode. So by that logic, once you have a weapon and the ability to use that weapon, you can come to escape anytime, get Uncle at the same time, do it all in one shot. That would be one possible routing save. In the meantime, there's our first bottle, and unlike the last race, that one was available 6 minutes in escape. Roughly an hour and a half sooner than the last scene. So I'll give yet another reason for jkoper to go back and visit Kak again. So I highly imagine he was going to get the hook shot and whatever's on Sick Kid after he finishes. So Paradox was just clearing out Mini Moldorm Cave. I think we can assume why it was called Mini Moldorm Cave. I mean, it's not called Trinex Cave for a reason. Looks like he's going to check the Dark Cross room as well. So he just doesn't have to worry about coming back to the castle at all. Makes sense. He's technically out of logic since he doesn't have the lamp. Oh no, he has a fire rod, so never mind. Yeah, I think that does put it into logic. I think this is one of the torch rooms that it puts into logic. Correct, yes. And Paradox is also in the dark, and I didn't see where he entered the dark. I'm assuming that was Death Mountain, though, because he does have the power glove. Yeah, that's definitely the old man route. I've definitely not played this too much to where I know the route just by looking at where the swords go. Cough. Well, nice we can actually see where we're... Well, we could see where we were going. He'll use it again here, yeah. Ah, we get to see the 10 arrows. Beautiful. Meanwhile, Paradox is up. Oh! Old that's man an out of logic hammer, by the way. Old man giving the tip of pounding. Because that definitely requires the lamp to get, so... Ooh, Paradox taking an unfortunate death to the Bonk Rocks there. That's not too bad, though. We'll be able to restart. Yeah, that's the cabbages. He'd be able to restart back at the Mountain Cave. That's exactly what he's doing. He wants to know what's on Spectacle Rock. So he's going to hop up there and take a look. He does also have the hook shot. And he can continue all the way along Death Mountain. So this is actually a really good play. But as you mentioned, this is out of logic. Everything up here, he shouldn't have yet. The rest of Death Mountain's in logic. I take that back. I take that back. Yeah, I take that back. He has the flute. I forgot that they got the flute so early. Yep. So I would actually not be surprised to see the lamp sitting over on East Death Mountain here. Honestly, I agree. It wouldn't be in Hera since the hammer is required for that. Unless Mirror's over here, but we'll see.
jkoper is going to be activating his flute in a moment. We do have audio on him, so we're going to get to hear the flute being activated in a moment as well. Paradox is checking Paradox Cave, meanwhile. jkoper getting his piece of heart from the back of the tavern. What's in Paradox Cave? 2 items on this floor, some bombs, and a cape. That could be needed for Bumper Cave. We'll find out when we get to the Dark World. In the meantime, he's going to head to the floor. Sick Kid today for Grace number 2. Gives another bottle.
Bottle for a bottle.
Bottle for a bottle. There you go. It's a fair trade, I guess. And jkoper is going to go next to, it looks like, the Chicken Hut. There's a sword in Paradox Cave. That's number 2. There's $5. Titan's Mitt. Oh.
So this is going to end up turning out very well for jkoper, the way he's routed, because he's going to have that Moon Pearl and pretty much be able to clear the entirety of Death Mountain.
Pretty much. And he's going to go activate the flute now, so that means we get to listen to some beautiful music as he plays a song.
And there was absolutely nothing on South Shore, too, so him skipping South Shore like I'm kind of expecting him to do isn't going to hurt him at all.
So, Swag Duck Airlines is now open for business. Please call anytime you wish to travel to one of 8 predefined locations in the Light World. Disclaimer, Dark World transportation not included. Please do not call in the Dark World.
Also, with those mitts there, that means Lamp could be a number of different places.
And Paradox getting dead rock, but I think he was just checking the island. I didn't see what was on the island, though. Hopefully someone had better eyes than I did on that.
Oh, jkoper is not going back up to the mountain yet.
Paradox using that hammer from the old man. Again, this is out of logic. He should not be able to get to Tower of Hera yet, so now we are out of logic.
Yeah, but at this point, you're not expecting to get into that lamp logic anytime soon.
No.
Could be the back of Turtle Rock as far as we know at this point.
It could be.
Oh, no, I guess it can't because hammer, but...
jkoper going to take on Mini Snake Cave. Oh, we have flippers.
Now that is water toes.
So that is an out of logic flippers. So we again, that is something we should not have yet. In order to be able to swim, we have to have the land.
So it's not an ice palace or swamp palace.
Correct.
We know that.
That might also rule out Waterfall Cave as well.
I believe Big Key is in the basement here, so... Yeah, because Key had to been the first item, so yep, Big Key is down here, so we're going to see a couple coffee breaks.
A reminder, this coffee break is brought to you by Death Mountain Coffee, good to the last kill.
It's like jkoper is pretty much clearing everything he can before he heads up the mountain, at least for these random odd checks with the mirror, so we'll see Ice Rod Cave check here.
And what? Oh, missed the first shot there. We're going to try a second shot. And what do we have here? That's the Big Key, of course. So he's going to head upstairs. He's going to take the Death Warp first, so he doesn't have to waste too much time. That tells me, I guess he doesn't have what he needs to set up Herapot yet, does he?
Nope. We did get Quake over on Ice Rod Cave, though. So that's a second medallion for jkoper.
Speaking of jkoper, he's going to do the fake flippers, which... we know the flippers are in Tower of Hera, so chances are this will be something he'll be able to do very soon anyway. Even if he did go to get the flippers normally.
Well, he knows this is out of logic. He just doesn't realize exactly how out of logic it is.
Exactly. So we're going to see 2 more chests here. I haven't been watching the items, but there is one of our items for this dungeon for Tower of Hera. And again, there are 4 items in here because there are 2 extra items. Yeah, there are 4 extra items. That's our lamp. Wait a second.
Mirror has to be somewhere now. Wow, that's extremely interesting.
That's locked by the mirror because you can't get to Tower of Hera legitimately without the mirror. So we have a mirror to a lamp to the flippers in Tower of Hera somehow.
So if runners are paying attention, which, to be fair, that's going to be decently hard to follow with the information that either of them have because they'll get different information different times. But Yeah, we know that means mirror is not locked by the lamp or the hammer
There's calls for Agini to have the mirror right now,
or the flippers. Oh no, I guess.
and
Yeah,
we know also the mirror's not nice palace for the same reason the flippers were locked by the lamp and set.
Oop, got to poke on Moldorm so you get the super Moldorm now. There we go.
Nothing useful there, and he's going to walk off with Crystal.
So that is a crystal. So that's our first crystal at 14 minutes, 14 and a half minutes for Paraduck.
Did you get a glance at the Zora Ledge? I missed it looking at the Moldorm.
It was just a big 20.
Nice. And Big Fish demands that we pay him insubordinate fees, and in return gives us 166 rupee apiece bombs. Deal or no deal?
I believe those bombs are definitely bigger than normal.
They must be.
They must be the size of the big bomb, so you can use them for the pyramid, definitely. Okay, so is jkoper going to continue, or is he going to finally head? Nope, he's heading up the map, and he is getting his hammer. So
he's going to get the out of sequence hammer, so he will soon know, as you said, just how in logic everything's going to fall here, out of logic rather.
Yeah, that's we'll see if he realizes it or not, but he's usually pretty smart. He does a lot of key sanity type stuff, which has weird logic to it sometimes.
Yeah, if we come down to a point that the mirror is the only item left, we have to remember that the mirror can only be available in locations that can be found without a lamp, because it leads to the lamp.
Yeah, so we know that the mirror is not behind the hammer, the lamp, or the flip, which cuts out actually a large portion of the world.
At this point, I have a feeling jkoper will probably prioritize any place the mirror could possibly be over places where it can't, but we'll see what happens.
Yep, if he figures it out.
It's suggesting the Swamp Palace is definitely going to be something we want to look at very soon.
Potentially. I don't think we've seen this actually yet inside of Paradox.
That is silver. That is
we
bow.
have definitely not seen.
I said silvers, but it's actually a bow. It could be the silvers if it was the second bow.
I mean, mirror could just be on like hype or not hype cave, hookshot cave. We are getting So both of our runners have bows. They are different bows.
Very nice.
Got bows.
That was pretty much almost a sync situation here, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, now we know where the other runners' bows are.
And neither of those bows were out of logic, so it could be bow locked. The mirror, I should say. Unfortunately, that bow is going to lead Paraducks. Didn't he? Yeah, he super bunnied to get that. For that bow is out of logic technically for him.
I just want to know what this mirror is right now. There are calls in chat for Gina to have the mirror, and that would make sense actually at this point.
I mean, it could be anywhere in the Dark World, like Thieves Town or Village of Outcast area makes the most sense, or Skull Woods. Like that would be the area that I would expect it to be in. But it could also just be in Pod.
Could be in Thieves Town by the same logic.
It could also be an EP.
And that's where we are right now with Paradox. So as you were saying, it could be in this chest right here. Or it could just be another sword.
Well, we got some swords. We got potential silvers. At least jkoper will have silvers. I don't know how long until Paradox gets back to that Spectacle Rock Cave.
Well, that third sword is going to be very handy for Paradox, because we still have a lot of dungeons to do, and having the extra sword ability to clear dungeons means that almost any dungeon is going to be worth dipping right now. The only possible deterrent is the fact that we don't have a lot of health for some of the dungeons. Indeed.
Yeah, jkoper's really happy to see that Mitts there, though, because that lets him full clear the mountain now. Outside of Thieves or Turtle Rock, actually. If he was so inclined, he could even do Spike Cave.
Spike Cave would not be worth it right now in any way. There's not enough health to do that, and I don't think the magic would last long enough to get to the end of it. We have no maps for jkoper in the light world yet. He took a look just to be safe.
I know we have, I think, 2 for the Dark World.
I saw 3 or 4. I saw Ice Palace recently. We saw Turtle Rock. We saw Thieves Town. So I know
I remember
at least
those
3.
Okay.
Apparently there's a 4th one that I'm forgetting.
I don't think Paraducks checked Sahasrara yet either, so... One thing you can do to help find crystals and pendants is Sahasrara will tell you what the green pendant dungeon is, so you can find that one from him. And then the bomb shop tells you what dungeons you need for the 2, 5, and 6 crystals.
Correct, and that's definitely good information to get in this mode, because otherwise you don't have that information. It can be a little more difficult wandering around from dungeon to dungeon, not knowing that you have to go through either Sahasrara or Pyramid Ferry as a potential logical step.
I think jkoper doesn't realize he doesn't have the big key. He'll figure it out shortly.
You're gonna have to go back for that, jkoper.
If I remember right, there wasn't anything in the big chest, so if he does do Harapot here, it would be a thing he can do. Nope, just gonna go to the basement. Fair enough. So now I'm curious if jkoper has realized the logical intricacies that's happening right now, because he does have the information.
Well, I'll be curious to see to what extent he knows how this is being mapped. I'm sure he's figured out that something's going on with the fact that he came around here with a hammer that came from the old man that was locked by a lamp that he really shouldn't have gotten. And the fact the flippers were at the end of that chain. So I'm sure he knows the flippers must be locked by the mirror. If he hasn't, he'll eventually figure that out.
Yeah, unfortunately that does still leave open quite a few places.
It does. And since we do the Titans Myth, once we get to the Dark World, we can also open up some things like we can grab the dwarf and take him home. We can do hammer pegs. We can't do K45. We can do some other checks along that route. Go into Swamp Palace. Well, we can't go to Swamp Palace. We don't have the mirror, obviously.
Nope.
But we can do some checks in the area at least.
Yeah, pretty much the main ones are Pod and EP, Thieves Town and Skullwoods, and then the overworld stuff. Pyramid. Actually, Pyramid. No, because Hammer needs needed. Pyramid Catfish actually technically aren't in logic because they can't have the hammer or the flippers.
That's right.
And they need either of the two to get to that side of the Dark World. So actually, Pod isn't open. I lied.
Yeah, Potted and Catfish and Pyramid technically are not open.
Paradox has his second crystal, though, from Eastern, so that cuts down on our choices again for the last crystal.
Now, the mirror could still be on that side. I want to point out the mirror could still be on that side, but if that does happen, then there's a very good chance that it's a logically aggro-required seed in that circumstance.
That is true. Actually, Lamp is required to get to Aga, and Lamp is also locked behind that chain.
So, Green Pendant and Desert Palace. Well, we already have the 2 crystals in the Light World, so that means that the Desert Palace is our only Light World pendant, and it's a green one. Now, we don't know yet, and we're going to have to keep an eye on the menu to make sure that there's not a red crystal somewhere. But we don't know if Paraducks... Actually, Paraducks does have a red crystal. We don't know yet which one it is, but we may be able to figure it out by looking at jkoper's menu. So hopefully our track will keep an eye on whether it's Tower Hera or Eastern Palace that is the red crystal, but one of them is a red crystal.
And it looks like Paradox is going to be doing some flipper stuff instead. So he's going to get his... lamp. Unfortunately, he's still avoiding the Moon Pearl, but he's going to get there eventually. He's going to run out of places to check. But yeah, so mirror spots are primarily at this point Hype Cave, Stumpy, Dig Game, Skullwoods, Bumper Cave, Thieves Town, Village of Outcast, Hammer Pegs.
So here we are at Hobo right now for Paradox. He's going to get the Hobo item. And that's his lamp.
Also, it could be on Eastern Death Mountain, or I guess Hookshot Cave at this.
You're referring to the mirror?
Yes, correct. Sorry, I'm stuck on the mirror. It's interesting to me.
jkoper is doing the walk of shame, so-called, because he doesn't have the boots yet, and he has to do this long, slow, winding walk around a circular spiral that is making me slowly dizzy, and all the normal stuff about circular, slow spiral walks. And we're talking nonsensically until we get down here to open the chest. He's finally at the bottom. He's going to open the chest, and we're going to find a bottle in it.
I'm impressed that there's 3 bottles now for jkoper and 0 for Paraduck. To be fair, one of the bottles led to the second bottle, but
that is true.
I think the other one is where the moon pearl's at, so.
jkoper now heading towards, looks like possibly Super Bunny Cave here. jkoper trying to do a hook shot block flip here. Makes it work on that one and is going to head straight upstairs.
Got the bombs on Paraducks there. Everyone's favorite life lessons of Zora.
And jkoper getting his blue mail and his other bow.
I was so excited about the bow, I didn't even realize that was a blue mail in the other chest.
While jkoper now has his silvers, so those are unlocked.
Okay, well, Paraducks is doing the back of escape. And probably a dark crossways here.
jkoper going to do the exploration of Hookshot Cave. And I haven't seen anything good in Hookshot Cave yet from what I can see.
Nope.
So,
bunch of junk.
Nope. Mucho Garbo.
So at this point, I'm betting that the hype cave is just a cave of love. Go in with 4 hearts, come out with 6. We're going to find out shortly, it seems.
Yep, it looks like jkoper may be heading towards the Dark World nearby, and that tells me that he is probably going to go to everyone's favorite Cave of Disappointment. So we're going to be heading over there probably in that direction right about now. Again, this is all out of logic because we still should not have this hammer. So this is technically all out of logic right now, I believe.
Indeed. Also, we could technically only be that mirror away from go.
Actually, you know what? Maybe this isn't logic coming from Village of Outcasts. This actually is in logic, I think.
Yeah,
so,
this isn't logic.
Yeah. So here we are in the Cave of Disappointment. We're going to get 20 bucks from the thief in front. And then moving to the 4 items in the back, we find some bombs, we find a piece of heart, we find a bug catching net, and we find another piece of heart. So I'd say that's about 9 out of 10 on the disappointment scale. What do you think, Brett?
I'd give it a straight 10 out of 10. He's still on 5 or 4 heart. If he got to that 5th heart, I'd at least give it a 1.
Well, the bug catching net gives fairy access. I like that aspect of it.
Well, we definitely are not in go mode there, or in almost go mode. We will definitely require both the ice rod and the cane, since we just saw that Turtle Rock, Mire, and Mire are both
Skull Woods.
And Skull Woods is also a crystal.
That's the red crystal on top of that. And that's one we have quick and easy access to. And the fact that that is something we, we have the fire rod, so we can clear Skull Woods. That tells me Pyramid Fairy is definitely something to consider right now.
We also have a pretty high likelihood that Swamp and Ice Palace are both not required. Or at the very least, one of them is. Well, one of them is definitely isn't, Richard.
Stumpy giveth up a magnetic circle for a Eastern Palace.
Also, for those wondering, I think we forgot to mention it earlier, the compass itself just gives you the number of items that have yet to be checked in, or number of chests that haven't been opened in a given dungeon.
Correct.
Not the most useful thing in the world, but sometimes if it's it can help. Paradox is still avoiding that front of escape.
I was gonna say it's a function more used by newer players who might not know how many chests there are available, and it can come in use for something like that, especially in the map compass shuffle when you have everything shuffled around. So you have to keep track of how many chests you've opened. We're doing our digging count. We had 1 in the last race. We're up to 17 for $20.
It's probably about the same amount of usefulness, really.
Pretty much.
Let's see.
For Paraducks, so now he has both of his medallions. We need bombos.
Yep, and we do know that since Meyer and Turtle Rock are both required, that is definitely a good find for Paraduck.
jkoper not getting the dwarf. This tells me he's potentially planning to go to Thieves Town right now.
Yeah, he's definitely going to dive Thieves Town. He knows it's a crystal too, so.
Yeah.
Ooh, we get to see Agina. Could be the mirror.
We have calls already in chat that it was for Agina to have the mirror, so let's find out right here if chat is correct on that one. Meanwhile, the treasure game looks like a piece of heart. And here's the Agina check. Here you are, chat. This is your call right here for the mirror. It is a full heart container. Nope, mirror is still a heart.
It was Sankart. Agina has all the love.
Chat got Sankart. There you go.
Okay, jkoper is also steadily whittling down the number of chests. Also, I was slightly wrong in where all the hearts were. They were actually in the Village of Outcasts. But yeah, he's slowly whittling down the number of chests that Mirror can.
Chat has now moved to putting the mirror on the pedestal. We won't even discuss that right now because it's still too early to make the ped call. But let's see what jkoper is finding here.
Actually, no, that's impossible.
Yeah, it's not possible.
Ice Palace, Swamp Palace, and Pod all require at least the hammer.
Exactly.
And 2 of them are pendants. So.
Exactly.
Ped is relatively dead. It could have Ice Rod or Kane of Samaria, actually.
It could have Ice Rod or Kane of Samaria, I believe. Yeah, you're right on those ones.
That was the boots for jkoper.
And that means that as he is demonstrating, the speed run can now officially begin.
And Paradox has finally made it to his last locations and gotten his... So he'll be able to start catching up on some of that. He hasn't really fallen too far behind. He's done most of the same checks that jkoper had already, plus maybe a couple extra. And also has finished Eastern Palace. So while he's a little bit behind on Dark World checks, he is at least up that. Both knowledge and... Actually, I guess he doesn't have the... jkoper has the knowledge now. So since Paradox, it was the red.
So Paradox obtains his 3rd bottle. Both runners now have 3 bottles. jkoper is making his way to the back of the front of Thieves Town, is I guess a good way to put it. And he's going to head upstairs here. Now, we're not using hint tiles in this tournament. There is one of those telepathic tiles, which is normally considered a hint tile in the randomizer, but they are off for this tournament. So the runners are not going to be looking at those tiles. They're just going to go straight into the next room as soon as he lifts the skull. And the room coming up is called the Sunshine Room. There is a chest located in this room. I call it the Sunshine Room. No one else does. I think it fits. And we blow a hole open here. This will cause sunshine to flow into the room below. We'll worry about that later. For right now, the chest here contains the red nanner.
I like Sunshine Room a lot better than the attic, which is what it usually is called.
Me too.
Why can the attic not get a good name? Why does it just have to be called an attic? Since you're already underground the entire time anyway. Also, where are you even going up? I'm thinking too much about Thieves Town. It doesn't make sense.
I'm being suggested to use Solarium. That's an interesting name.
I'd be okay with that. It looks like Pod is it looks like Ice Palace is our last crystal.
Yeah, red pendant at Palace of Darkness.
We did get, I did see Ice Palace as a crystal there, so that means Swamp is our last, as well as Pod. So that mirror isn't even really required.
Yeah, that mirror is...
even though it actually is.
Logically, it's required, but yeah.
Also, I think that was a Bombos that jkoper just got.
Chad is concurring with you on that.
So medallions are not an issue.
Meanwhile, we are going to take this fair maiden, who we went through toil and trouble to rescue. We're going to take her up to get some sunshine, because that's why we blew the hole in the floor, to give her some sunshine. Oh, wait, she's actually a horrible monster. My optometrist said I have vision.
He just wants to say hi. It's not just call him a monster like that. That's very rude of you.
He works for Gan. He's a monster.
Also, the key was locked in the big chest, so even if not that mirror could be in the big chest anyway, but it's definitely not in the big chest now.
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay, so we are down to Bonk Rocks and King's Tomb. The C-shape, and then Skullwoods and Bumper Ledge as our really only remaining options for mirror. Unless I'm forgetting something again, which is very possible. Or if we get a fetch quest in the middle somewhere.
What will be interesting is if the mirror. What will be interesting is if the mirror is needed to go into Palace of Darkness to look for an item that we need somewhere else. That will be the thing that makes this very interesting, because up till now, while logically required, we really haven't needed it, as you said earlier. We are going to get our Skull Woods check, and this is a crystal, so we can complete this.
I'd like to say that jkoper is doing all these checks on purpose because he figured out the logic, but really most split runners would be doing this anyway.
Yes, this is something that runners will do anyway most of the time.
jkoper has done Zora, yes.
Both runners have Zora, and both runners know that they're the most expensive bombs in the world, and it happened last seed too, I believe.
Oh yeah, someone in chat did bring up an interesting point that, or no.
Oh!
Yeah, there's the cane.
That is the Red Cane of Samaria.
Can you actually get to Pyramid? I don't think you can get to Pyramid Fairy actually with this logic, because you can't get to the Pyramid. Even the Aga method way. So mirror can't be in the...
jkoper is standing there waiting for a hand to show up to help him out. Just watching the mummy bounce back and forth off the bumper. I'm just sitting here laughing at that.
Boingy, 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 boingy.
Exactly. So now into the next... He's going to use the Cane of Samaria block. He doesn't have to push the statue because he has the Cane of Samaria. Good way to save some time in that room. And he works in any room where you have to put something on a block. Just create a block and put it on top and walk away.
That was nearly a... I guess that was a big key chest, but that was the math for Skullwoods in Skullwoods, by the way.
Yeah, someone didn't shuffle that one as well.
Also, we are an Ice Rod away from Go mode at this point. I mean, well, okay. Mirror and Ice Rod, really. Ice Rod.
Technically, Ice Rod, yeah. But this is quite a change from the last seed, where we had things just scattered about in the weirdest, silliest places, and it took 2 hours to get through it. This looks like it's going to be a little bit more benign, but it will depend on that Ice Rod. It can be anywhere.
Yeah. I'm sure they will appreciate the much shorter seed, though.
I am sure. And jkoper immediately going into the bug fight. So yes, finishing Skullwoods in one trip. We have no mirror and no book, so we're not going to get a ped check while we're here. So we're just going to kill the bug and leave. So using fire rod shots on the bug. Very nicely done by jkoper. And that will give him the second red crystal. And he now has Pyramid Fairy open once he gets to Eastern Palace, because he still doesn't have that one. Which is the first red crystal. So do you think jkoper goes to Eastern Palace, or where do you think he goes from here?
Well, if you figure out the logic, he's going to head to Bumper Cave and Bonk Rocks. It would not surprise me if he saved and quit out of here after he got the last chest here, and then just went straight to the King's Tomb and Bonk Rocks.
So moving some little skull pots in the way there is going to go check that last chest. Paraducks, meanwhile, going through Thieves' Town of the Sunshine Room. There's the big key. That means you have another chest. Check.
Oh, except for that's the big key. So now he has like, maybe I should go back. Nope, he's gonna stick with his plan.
He stopped and thought about it for a moment there.
I bet mirrors in that big chest though. There's been so many things in the Skullwood's big chest.
Could be the ice rod.
Could be the ice rod too. That'd be worse.
That would be horrible at this point. We're gonna check the King's Tomb. So, yeah, I'm probably just gonna rob the King's money here because, you know, the King usually is buried with very small amounts of money. Like that.
Nothing there. Oh, Mire area could also have the mirror. Forgot about that. Mire shed specifically.
Very possible.
Bombos for Paraducks. And Bunkrox is just 10 arrows. Also, yeah, Mire itself could have the mirror. That is also a good call. So we aren't completely out of choices yet. We are going to see a
this is Lumberjack.
Lumberjack check. This could only really be Ice Rod as something relevant. It'd be worse if it was a fetch quest, though. Nope,
it's
just
$20 though. So nothing big right now. And Paradox is on the blind fight right now. On part 3 of the blind fight, this is a scripted fight, so you are able to predict his movements if you can come in with the maiden on the first go and do it that way.
Yep. I was asked in chat. None of the medallions were locked by any of the items that blocked by mirror. So I'll just say mirror. Bombos specifically was in Thieves' Town.
So we just confirmed that Bombos opens Misery Mire. Not that we care, we have all 3. It could have been any of them at this point.
It looks like we are going to get the Mire check. So, if I'm not forgetting anything, I think the only actual places for mirror that could be are Mire, the Mire itself, the Big Chest of Skull Woods, Bumper Cave, or Spike Cave.
So jkoper now accessing.
Oh no, right. Sorry, not Spike Cave. That requires the hammer.
jkoper now accessing Misery Mire. Going to head down to the Wizrobe infested room of horror. Is going to start taking them out slowly.
So to kind of catch up anyone that may be joining us late, what I've been kind of surmising for the last bit is we had kind of a weird logic chain happen where the hammer was on the old man, which ended up leading to the flippers up in Hera. But the lamp itself was sitting on the hobo, which is locked by the flippers.
Yes.
So, which means that to get to those flippers, you needed the mirror to get there. So that
yes.
Which means that anything that is locked behind hammer, flippers, or lamp can't have the mirror.
And that does remove a lot of locations from the like dungeons and some other checks from the overworld as well. So there's still a lot of places that could have it, though, and we're trying to conclude where that mirror could be and whether it is needed. Because if the Ice Rod happens to be in Swamp Palace, we know we need that mirror, and that could be something that comes into play.
Yes, also of note is the mirror might not even be required.
Yeah, there is that too. I mean, in that scenario, we still would logically the mirror would be needed because the lamp is needed for. Actually, no, the lamp could be. Are there dungeons that you wouldn't need the lamp for at all now that normally have a dark room in them?
Turtle Rock and Mire, you both need the mirror for both of them.
So those are the only 2 you really need to have the lamp for now. I know the new logic allows us to finish Eastern Palace without it. And in that logic, the lamp could actually be in Gan's Tower, since that's now only 2 or 3 dungeons that would still need it in that case. So that shows the lamp could even be tied behind Gan's Tower. The mirror could be in Gan's Tower in such a scenario, but with Ice Palace being a crystal, we know that's not going to be the case in this scene.
Yeah, there's no way that would happen since Turtle Rock and Ice Palace are both. And they have too many dungeons. Too many dungeons.
By the way, jkoper is lighting 4 torches, and this causes an earthquake to happen. So you may commence questioning Nintendo logic at this time as to how that causes an earthquake. But what we actually have is a wall moving in the other room. And 10 arrows for jkoper. Paraducks does not have his King of Samari yet, so he has to do the hard part of lugging a statue. Please enjoy the map for the dungeon you're about to complete.
Yeah, Paraducks went the but it's really the more traditional method of Skullwoods now and going to the back of the dungeon first and completing the boss. Though in this circumstance, jkoper did the method that works just fine. It was actually a good mire layout.
Yeah, there was the big key
for mirror.
That was the big key for mire, and I think we had a slight pause there, so I didn't see what item was in that chest.
Yeah, same. It was not the mirror.
That was the mirror.
Though, the big chest of mire.
The other one was not the mirror because that was the mirror.
It's one of those logic chains you just don't want to think about too hard, because now that it's over, it's like, really? You wanted me to do this method of things to actually get the hammer?
So, ladies and gentlemen, that loud thwacking noise you just heard was the logic literally just snapping back into place.
So yeah, the seed logic was wanted you to do it in mire twice, wanted you to go up the mountain a couple times. One easy old man switch made that all not needed.
We're getting some highlighted messages in the chat from the Misery Mire mirror. So jkoper is going to head north. He's going to activate the switch, and that will get us to the other side of the basement.
So Paraducks has finished Skullwoods and is heading to... looks like get some potions filled up. Probably planning to head to mire, that is what that tells me.
Okay.
jkoper needs to have a little bit, or be a little bit careful here with one heart, but fortunately, Silvers makes this fight relatively trivial.
What I was about to say in regards to that, you're about to see why Misery Mire locks the silver arrows in the vanilla game. That's your demonstration right there.
Every time. Okay, so now we are officially on the hunt for the ice road. And jkoper himself actually only has 2 dungeons left to clear. And we know one of them doesn't have it. Technically, Paraducks also only has 2 dungeons left to clear.
So the good news for Paraducks is he is going to get his mirror here. Not that that helps him because we're looking for the ice rod, not the mirror. But the mirror could lead to the ice rod for all we know.
It's like we are going to get some pod and EP checks from jkoper here, though.
Definitely EP because he needs to get the Crystallo there. I I suspect he'll do some item checking in Palace Darkness, but may not complete it.
Yeah, he'll at the very least go in and check pod with this route. There's no reason to go do this maze otherwise. Whether it's there or not is anyone's guess. There's far too many places the ice rod can be, including in Turtle Rock itself.
jkoper trying to bonk into the hole, into the rocks in the wall. Took a moment, second try there, getting his blue banana or blue boomerang, I should say, his shield there. Didn't Paraducks check that location as well?
Yes, he was the one that we got the information about desert from. I'm gonna take Kiki for a bit of a walk here.
Yep, everyone's favorite contortionist picks your pockets and then demands you actually pay her to open the dungeon. So we have no choice; we have to do that. Doing the map check and finding Turtle Rock Crystal up there on the map check.
Noticing it's like jkoper.
Yeah, he noticed this was a pendant, and what he did was mirrored straight over to Eastern Palace because he hasn't done Eastern Palace yet. He knows if the Ice Rod is in here, he doesn't have to go into Palace of Darkness.
Exactly. Get his bacon sword. Yeah, jkoper should have all the information he needs to figure out what crystals he needs. I think he was the one we figured it out from initially, but I don't think he knew the Desert Palace information, so he wouldn't have known about Swamp yet.
He definitely knows about Desert Palace now. He knows Palace of Darkness. If anything, it would just be Swamp. He doesn't know, but he has a lot of the crystal maps, I believe, so he might be able to figure it out by now.
Oh, that's right. He didn't have the Ice Palace map yet, did he?
I thought he had it. Maybe he doesn't.
He just got it from that chest.
Oh, yeah, okay, that's why. Okay, that would be why. Never mind.
So, yeah. So, he doesn't actually know, but he will know once he leaves the...
Once he goes back to the Dark World, does another map check, and sees that crystal flashing down there, yep, he'll know that Palace of Darkness is not required at all. Or, I mean, the Swamp Palace, rather, is not required at all. Unless the Ice Rod is in there.
Well, you say that, but...
Unless the Ice Rod's in there, like I said. But, again, it could be on the pedestal. We may have to do all three. We don't know yet.
That is indeed in the range of possibilities. Paraducks has gotten his mirror. We're making their way down to Vitreous themselves. So it looks like they'll be effectively tied at this point. And it's just going to be who guesses where the Ice Rod is first. jkoper should definitely be done with Eastern before Paraducks finishes this. But he'll be able to quickly go to pod to check that, so if it's there, that's a good bonus. But he hasn't done things like Agana's Cave yet, I think. Or did he do Agana after Checkerboard? I forgot.
I don't think jkoper has done Agina yet, but I don't think Agina had anything, if I remember.
No, I didn't. It's just an extra check.
And the Armo sites just got vaporized, as is protocol when you have silver arrows. And jkoper gets the stat crystal, so he could decide to check Pyramid Fairy now.
Yep, as in logic. He did skip the big key check. That was nothing, but I don't think it was a key, so or it wasn't the big key, so
there are no keys in Eastern Palace other than the big key, so yeah.
Yep. That's right, Agana was Sankart. Classic.
I stand corrected. Agina was something that was Sankart. There you go.
One of the most important items in the game. Come on.
If remember, Sankart is the important heart. That's the one.
The only one. You only need the 4 hearts. Ooh, we're seeing some cape dash strats from Paraducks. Definitely not faster than just using the silvers here, but apparently they just don't want to use the silvers.
Well, there is menu time involved in that, but at the same time, I wonder if it might have been faster just to get the silvers.
Definitely faster. I'm guessing they just forgot they had it. Actually, no, they don't have silvers yet. Oh, no, they do. When did they go to Paradox?
He does, because you can see it lit up on the icon that he has silver arrows.
I don't remember seeing Paradox Cave. He must have done it when he was looking for the
I saw him in there. I saw him in there.
Yeah. I'm guessing it was around the Moon Pearl hunt. Mirror was in the big chest of Mire. Which then slots everything back into logic. Be interested to see if Paradox checks out Desert here while they're here.
Well, we're gonna get checkerboard right now, and that is just money, and he walks in and walks out. And back to the portal, and where is he gonna go from here?
Desert Palace.
Yeah, looks like it.
So we'll see another few items from this, and this is also the green pendant, so potential 5 items here. With this being maps and compasses.
Oh, those jellyfish did not try to stop jkoper today. Very nice of them. And he kicks that one out of the way and is going to throw the bomb, open the chest for 300 rupees, and is going to open the other chest to get his key from that chest. Paradox getting the one off of the torch in Desert Palace, going to go over to the right side.
Which required.
Mm-hmm. Well, the big key could be here, so it may not be required. But it was a heart container, so right side is required.
Well, it's required to kill Landmolus regardless.
Yeah, because you can otherwise... the logic assumes that player may use the key that is there to open the right side, and therefore you need to have that key for Landmolus.
And sometimes people will use that to open the right side, so...
as a gamble, and that doesn't work out sometimes.
Oh, I'm aware. I may or may not have had a race recently that went poorly doing.
I've seen someone do a not save and quit after using the key, and then get the key back and just go do Landmolus later. That worked out too.
Yeah, that's very common in entrance runs. There's a shovel from jkoper.
Yep, I could dig that. That could be the ice rod.
Groans.
What?
Nothing. Looks like Paradox is indeed going to take the 2 items from the back as well. The one from Landmola, as well as the green pendant from Sahasrara. So we might be seeing a pod dip from them soon, which seems to not be working out for jkoper.
We're going to see what's in the big chest, though. This will be the last item, and this could still be the ice rod. It could still be in here. So the big chest is going to produce, when he opens it, the needed fire shield.
Yep. We'll see if he does Helma. Looks like a negative on.
That's a no.
It's an interesting idea for strategy, because on the one hand, Ice Rod could just be on pedestal. On the other hand, it's a pretty big waste of time for one item and maybe a pedestal when there's Ice Palace, Swamp Palace, all kinds of mirror checks to do.
There's still too much available to check, but I would have put off the pendant checks as much as I could until I had all the crystals. Now, he has 4 crystals already. He could do... he can't complete Turtle Rock, so he wouldn't go there yet. Ice Palace, he probably could have done before going to Palace of Darkness. So I actually would have done that before going to Palace of Darkness. Yeah. I would have done that before going to Eastern Palace, Palace of Darkness, because at that point, I have the 5th crystal, and I'm looking at the 2 that are left, which are... Actually, no, at that point, he only has 1 left. He's actually on 5 crystals right now. He would only have the 1 left. At that point, it makes sense to do Helmastar King while he's there. Right now, Ice Palace is on the agenda. I might have done Ice Palace before going to the Palace of Darkness area.
You underestimate how much people don't want to do.
Oh, no, I know how much people don't want to do it. I'm just saying from a strategy perspective.
No, I agree with you there. It's not a bad idea. Especially if you're planning on checking pod while you're doing Eastern, but...
Because at that point, you have your 6 crystals. At that point, you have your 6 crystals. You have to assume that item could be on the boss.
It is not on Sasha. There's the Swamp Palace map, though.
Nice.
Oh, also, jkoper did not know that Ice Palace was a crystal at that point. Oh yeah, he did. Never mind. No, he didn't. The Ice Palace was in the Eastern Palace. Yeah. So jkoper wouldn't have even known that he had to do Ice Palace before going to the pod area. And then Paraducks is following jkoper in, so relatively effectively what we have, the difference between the runners right now is just their progress into, well, and pod. Sorry, well, pod versus desert. They both checked 2 different dungeons, neither of which have had the ice rod, and then there's this difference of Ice Palace, the difference between the 2 runners.
Yeah, you were just answering that question in chat as 2 is quote unquote ahead, and it really is a difference of ice rod to determine who is really ahead. We won't know until someone finds the ice rod.
Yeah, there's not really an ahead right now. It's impossible to say. jkoper has a minor advantage in that he's done a slightly longer dungeon that he's. But if Paraducks never goes there, then it doesn't matter.
There is one more way to analyze that too. If you were to assume certain locations the ice rod could be, like let's just pick the pedestal, because that's a really good example. Let's assume the ice rod were on the pedestal. We know at this point that Paraducks has completed Desert Palace. While it is a short dungeon, jkoper wouldn't take long to complete that back end of a Desert Palace. That is still a dungeon on the pendants that he has completed. That would mean he would have 2 to do, whereas jkoper would have 3 to do. And that would give Paraducks a slight advantage if the ice rod is on the pedestal. But if it is not on the pedestal, then it's basically whatever chest it is in. And whoever gets to that location and starts crossing them off first, if whatever location it's in, that would be whoever is immediately ahead. We won't know until they actually pick it up.
Okay, so as they make their way through Ice Palace here, looks like that first chest is just a key.
And a single green rupee replacing the big key, that'll buy you a lot these days.
You know, one place it could be again. It could be in the big chest of Swamp again.
It could. That has come in big in some of the last races I've seen. I saw Fire Rod there a few days ago. We just saw Ice Rod there in the first race of this series. It would be interesting if the Ice Rod shows up twice in a row in the same chest.
So it looks like Paraducks got the key out of the Freezer room and is deciding to go this way instead of taking the hookshot route that jkoper. Just slightly different variations on how to route Ice Palace.
So the 2 Freezors are down in this room. The chest is acquired. And Bob Jump.
Yep, Bomb Jump here definitely saves a bit of time getting to Ice Tea, as long as you have a key available.
And with that completed, he's going to head upstairs now, and that should take him, I believe, to Ice Tea. Personally, I'm not a fan of iced tea. Granted, I don't like regular tea either.
I like regular tea. I'm not a huge fan of iced tea though.
Did have red mail there though.
There
was red mail there, so that was a worthwhile iced tea check.
Especially with 8 hearts still.
jkoper timing his hookshot grab so he can get through the firebar undamaged. While that hookshot is out, you take no damage. Even if you're standing still, anything will pass through you as long as that hookshot is out. Bombs in the big chest.
Looks like Paraducks is going to do the similar route as jkoper, but instead of bomb jumping, it's just going to jump down and run. This is a smart way of doing it as well.
jkoper is down here, just has to go down to Cold Stare and initiate the fight for crystal number 6. If he does not find the ice rod on Cold Stare, where would you go, Fred?
Oh my goodness. I would think about doing Smith Chain down to...
I was thinking the exact same thing. I was thinking Swamp Palace, but you can do Smith Chain on the way down because we have not seen what the dwarf has yet. So that's that to me would be a really good play right now, as that would allow you to get some checks. We can't check K45. I don't know, we can check
Yeah, we
K45.
can.
We have a mirror now. Yeah, we couldn't before, and now we can. So
That
we
was
can
one of
now
my
check
primary
K45.
reasons, honestly.
Yeah, we can now check K45, and we can get that out of the way. The entire thing is done. And then we culminate at Swamp Palace. We don't have the book, but if we do find the book, we can check the tablet. And if we don't find it on the tablet, we go into Swamp Palace.
There's also arguments for doing Pyramid Ferry into Pyramid itself and Catfish, and then like maybe popping over to Graveyard Ledge and Bumper Cave.
That's a good possibility as well. And Pyramid Ferry, I mentioned, is one of my favorite locations. And it's come up big in a couple of the races I've called recently. So it's starting to show its worth again. jkoper's going to Turtle Rock, it looks like.
Interesting.
He's making the gamble that it's in Turtle Rock, and he is going to try and do this all in one go and not worry about any of the pendant dungeons. I am surprised he didn't at least check some overworld locations first and check the Smith chain, possibly Swamp Palace. There's a lot of items there. Again, there's 8 items in Swamp Palace, but let's also remember there are 6 items in Turtle Rock, so there is still a very good chance it could be in Turtle Rock as well.
Oh yeah, Turtle Rock is a high possibility as well. Would not be the first and anywhere from the last time I see it. This is definitely the boldest play he could have made.
Yeah, because if it's not here, he has to double dip it. And that's why it's an extremely bold and chancy play. But at the same time, if it is here, it's the correct play. I like to refer to it as going down the rabbit hole, though. If you're familiar with Alice in Wonderland, you know the story of Alice in Wonderland. I consider this the equivalent of going down the rabbit hole, because you're going to go in all the way. You're going to get to the end of the hole. You could end up with no ability to proceed any further down the hole, and you have to come and do the entire hole again. So this could be the situation jkoper's in right now. It is a bit of a gamble. Respectable play, though, and we'll see if it works out for him.
I mean, yeah, it's definitely a good play. Like, it's high risk, high reward. Like, this isn't one of those high risk plays where it's like, well, you took this, and then even if you got it, though, it wouldn't have really helped you that much. This is a you find the ice right here, you pretty much win. Like, except for Paraducks is doing the same thing. So I say that, but both of the runners are thinking the same thing. So this keeps them actually relatively even. But yeah, really, it's not a bad call either way. There's a decent number of checks available, but there's also, like we were saying, the possibility that it's just in here, and if your opponent did it when you didn't, then you're pretty much just... So some form of that is likely the thought process for both of our runners here.
So jkoper, we're going to light the torches here, going to grab the hook shot so he can get off this platform as quick as he can. He misses the shot. Going to do it second try. Just still have time to get the door. Just a couple seconds time lost here.
Yeah, it's the backup there, just in case. It's also the possibility that it's a required double dip of Turtle Rock to begin.
It could be if the book's in here and it's on a tablet. That could be the case.
Yeah, book, mushroom.
Yeah.
Did either of the runners actually tuck that shovel?
Powder, and no, I don't think it was. I thought no. I think someone did check the shovel. I don't think it was anything.
Did jkoper actually check the shovel? Okay. Jake actually, it was in pods, so Paradox doesn't have it, but yeah, there's one of any number of fetch quests could definitely be in here, leading to it. I seem to recall a race at one point where they found I think the first item was a fetch quest at the book, I think, that led to another fetch quest, which then led to another fetch quest, which led to nothing, and the ice rod was just deeper in Turtle Rock.
Well, chat is showing its evil side again. We have a call for a fetch quest chain off of the pedestal.
Of course. Book on pedestal is always a crowd favorite.
That's always a beauty. And then go all the way up to Ether Tablet, find the powder up there. Have to go powder, go down to Magic Bat. What's left from there? We have... that's about it, I think. Mushroom, I think, is the only other thing we have, and then Mushroom results in the Ice Rod. Like, something like that would be really evil.
Indeed. Paradox also had to check Hookshot Cave up here, so... gives more incentive for... The Lava Room chest is nothing.
jkoper heading back from the Lava Island chest and is going to take the other tube now, and that will take him further along the dungeon. Now, if you were skipping Mimic Cave, you can go to the right from here after killing these 2 Pokies, but we're going to go down because we need to check Mimic Cave. Mimics, by the way, are actually called gorillas in the game, but they like to mimic your movement, which is why they're affectionately known as Mimic.
In my mind, they're just mimics. So we got roughly 5 more items between Minute Cave here and the back of Turtle Rock.
What do you think? Do you think this is Ice Rod?
I think Ice Rod's sitting in Swamp, honestly. Or like the purple chest or something silly.
I've seen Fire Rod here, but today it's Bomb.
Yeah, I've seen Fire Rod. My favorite is Fire Rod in the lava.
Yeah,
there's a blue item.
Yeah, that's a blue item, not the right blue item.
Yeah, Paraducks being pretty careful. They are both on red mail, but yeah, going through Turtle Rock on 10-ish hearts is not really everyone's idea of a great. The jkoper's being a little bit more or less, yeah, you know what I mean.
Well, jkoper
less careful.
jkoper's going to go into the basement now, and basement 2, we're going to find our magic over here. Actually, that's the switch. The magic's on the other one. So the switch opens the door. Yep. We have to go there to get through the room. We're going to head over here and find some more magic, because why not? And hearts.
And more importantly, 2 hearts.
Yeah, that's more important here with only 3 health.
It's 12 hearts for Paraducks there.
Yep. And he's going to continue down and cross this bridge, and we're coming up on Laser Bridge below that. If this is not an ice rod down here, if we don't have the ice rod among these 4 chests, which has to also include a key, so 3 items, then we have to leave. So there's a heart container. That's one of the items. Next item up for bids is 300 rupees, which is ironically not something you bid for normally. Final item is not that. Actually, no, that is it. That's the compass. That's the final item. We only have the key. jkoper went into the ditch. I thought I might have forgotten about the key, but he has to grab the key to finish later. So he'll at least get out of the way now, and then he doesn't have to come back to this room. And he's going to grab the key, and he's going to leave.
Yep, nice laser dashes by jkoper. He's probably not super happy with himself for doing this and it not working out, but fortunately for him, his opponent is doing the same thing.
Yeah, so if he had made this bold play and it had worked out, he would have had immediately a very good grip on winning his first race out of this series. It would have been 1-1 tie going into game 3. But as it is, the search continues. Yep,
the search for the ice rod shall continue on. Unto eternity. Looks like we're going to get a check of Spike Cave, though, while he's here. Just finish out the rest of the mountain.
I wonder if it would have been faster just to mirror... Actually, no, you couldn't because you would have gone back to the start. Never mind. Ignore me.
The answer is no, it wouldn't have.
No, it would have gone to the wrong entrance. That wouldn't have worked. So, yeah, we're going to get the Spike Cave check right now. And, again, using the hook shot to take advantage of the extra iframes before having to activate his magic use. Going to get the item ready. And activate magic now!
Yep, ideally, the most ideal way of getting through here is to wait till the last second to use the cape or Crane of Burna, whatever you're planning on using, because magic does not come back when you save and quit while health.
And jkoper just found the equivalent of toilet paper because that map of Harrow Castle is going to do absolutely nothing for us.
Meanwhile, Paraducks is making his way to the Laser Bridge of Disappointment. While jkoper, it looks like he's just heading straight to Swamp here.
Right now, this is the most item-dense location. I would have done the Smith chain into this, so we'll see if Paraducks does Smith chain first. And if it is on the Smith chain, that would be Paraducks dead.
Okay, I was hoping he'd at least do the Cave 42 first. Or whatever cave it is.
45.
Yeah, 45.
Okay, I thought I was going right to Swamp 2, but no, he is going to cave 45.
Yeah, it's smart to do this before swamp because there's been so many times I've seen late mirror into something in cave 45 and someone dipped swamp.
Compass. Yeah, and for those wondering who might be asking why it's called Cave 45, there's a map on the Google by someone named Ian Albert, and his map numbers that cave as number 45, and that's where it gets that name from.
We might be heading to bomb shop here, though. Yeah, looks like we're going to see the pyramid and stuff, so we are going to see that loop as we were talking about. So this will let him check 4 more items, actually, relatively quick.
So Pyramid Ferry, this is one of my favorite locations, and it'll be kind of interesting if it shows up for pretty much the 3rd day in a row on a race that I've at least observed. So we're going to find out very soon.
He definitely didn't do the shovel, though. Hopefully he doesn't forget that he has it. I don't remember him checking shovel earlier, but if you do, then maybe he did. But that was definitely the best time to do it if he hadn't.
He's not doing any fancy strategy with the bomb where you can actually change screens as a countdown gets to 0 and get your bomb back without it exploding. So not doing any of those tricks. He's just going to walk normally up to the crack. He's going to drop it. He's going to wait for the 3 seconds. He's going to check the pyramid ledge while he's here, it looks like. Looks like he's not done this yet. Ledge is a compass. I don't think we've seen that yet.
Nope, this is all new information.
So what is inside Pyramid Ferry today? We are going to have 2 items. They are a heart container and the compass. The search continues.
Paraducks is going straight down to swamp, though.
So now if it is in Swamp Palace, because he beat jkoper into there, that would give him an advantage if it is in there. And this could very well be the difference. If it's right here, this could be the game right here. Nope, big key. At least the big chest will be able to check easily.
I'll be honest, after their last seed, I probably would have just gone straight to swamp, personally.
Oh, yeah. I've seen too many races in the last 3 or 4 days where Swamp Palace has been key to everything, and by that logic, as soon as that's fully available, I'm in there.
Well, just specifically because their last ice rod was literally in the big chest of Swamp Palace.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of interesting things about seeds, like having similar locations.
So here's more new information. We have Catfish. Not to interrupt you, but want to see what Catfish has. He gives up his heart. Ew.
jkoper decides he wants it.
Paraducks doing the further Swamp Palace checks. Going to go to the lower room now. I have seen this Beagle mode before, so could it be today? Going to do a circle of these rooms. Seems like a pain, but you can only push the block from the one side, or at least you can push it the other way, but you can't open the chest. You have to come around anyway. So push the block and find that would be our 3rd shield, because we have the other shields.
The 3rd one was in pod, right?
I think there was one in Palace Stars. I think you're correct. That was the big chest.
Swamp Palace compass. Nice. And there's a shovel check. Yeah.
The heart.
I'm confused at why jkoper is saving quitting, but
that's a very good question. I would have gone back to Swamp Palace at that point. Maybe I think it's quicker to just go straight back to Link's house. And maybe he wanted more health, too.
More likely, he's just getting slightly frustrated at another ice rod hunt, to be honest. But
yeah,
no one can blame him, and I would be in the same position myself.
This series being brought to you by the Ice Rod. Crack open a cold one today.
Okay, so now jkoper is going to Swamp Palace. So if it is in Swamp Palace, he'll be definitely behind a bit again. Like
this will give Paraducks an advantage as long as it's in Swamp Palace. But if it's anywhere other than Swamp Palace, if Paraducks starts doing the checks that jkoper just did, jkoper can pull back in front in perspective of the search.
And we're getting closer and closer to the reality of pedestal being a possibility here.
It's starting to look like it.
So we're down to swamp. Helmasaur.
At this point, I think you just have to full clear swamp. You have to take Argus and check the last item back there. Because again, there's 8 items there. It could be any of them.
Yep.
So we know what jkoper's opening we've already seen. We're going to keep an eye on Paraducks here as he finds a Tower of Hera item. and we're going to move over to the other chest on the left side. That produces a heart container. Now, I'm actually thinking in Paradox case it would have made more sense possibly to go to Argus first, but
yeah, I'm expecting
since it's not a crystal, and if it was a crystal that would make more sense. Since it's not a crystal, it could be any of the locations. I guess I can't really fault him for doing the left side first because he wants to just rule out all the locations.
It is slightly more efficient overall to do left side first, but the back gets you more items quicker, so it's a bit more efficient if you're just looking for one item to do the back first. So it wouldn't surprise me to see jkoper do that first.
He might have been gambling on the fact that it might have been in those two chests because maybe he's seen a lot of races where it has been, and that could be it. Paradox could use the... Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just saying that it's slightly more efficient to do do left side first, just because of how the key door works. But yeah, go ahead.
Nothing. It's irrelevant now. So moving, Paradox is going to drain this area, and I think we had something in the lower room in the last race, if I remember correctly. So this could again be an important room. Let's see what is in the room below.
It was the big key to get to the ice rod, if I recall.
There's $50, and there is a butter sword. So yeah, that was something, just more of a nice to have.
This looks like something that both of our runners will be getting.
Again, we are only looking for the ice rod. For those joining us late, that's the Cane of Burna. That's the wrong blue item. We are only looking for the ice rod. Once we find the ice rod, whoever finds it from both runners will be in go mode. The only dungeon we have to clear is Turtle Rock. We have to have the ice rod to clear Turtle Rock. So once we have that ice rod, we are go.
Yep, and both of our runners have already been to Turtle Rock, so they both know it's not in Turtle Rock.
And to further go into information as to what the background of this race is, as you see, Paradox is up 1-0 in a best of 3 series. And let me actually get the information back up in front of me because I had the group information up earlier. I will work on getting that for you.
They are
got it.
3rd and 4th seeds, I believe.
Yep, I got it. They're in Group P, and whoever wins this series, this is a lower bracket matchup. Whoever wins this series will move on to face Hitsuya in 1337, who just got moved down to the lower bracket by losing to Christos Owen earlier today in Group P. Christos Owen advancing to the bracket phase of the tournament. No surprise there. Hitsuya waiting for the winner of this series. If jkoper wins, we go to a game 3. If Paradox if Paradox wins, then he moves on to face Hitsuya for that third final spot.
So Swamp Palace is a bust,
which is unfortunate. But at this point, we're starting to think some pedestals, so kind of predictable. We know Palace of Darkness is a bust. That means that what is left? Just Desert Palace. Have we seen all the items in Desert Palace? I think we have. So
yes, we've seen Desert Palace.
Unless there's
Bumper Ledge and Graveyard.
Unless there's a last item on Helmstar King or Land Molus that could be the Ice Rod, that's the only possibility at this point, and that and any overworld checks.
Yeah, we're running low on places real quick. Like I said, Graveyard Ledge and Bumper Ledge have not been checked by either runner yet. Helmasaur and Pedestal have not been checked by either runner yet. As well as the Smith Chain has not been done by either runner. Paradox is following jkoper's footsteps to the Pyramid Fairy, it looks like. So that will give jkoper a chance to get that advantage back.
This will quote unquote tie this back up a little bit, or at least bring it a little closer.
Yeah, right now the closer we get to a pedestal seed, the more Paradox gets a little bit more of an advantage, though. Since jkoper left pod without doing Helmasaur, so he'll have to go back there if it comes.
This will be jkoper's first crystal, or first pendant rather, if he clears it. And at this point, I think he's thinking, I have to clear the pendant.
Definitely on the back of the mind. In his shoes at this point, I would probably be looking to finish Overworld before I even go to Desert at this point.
Well, in this scenario, if it's not on the pedestal, he probably wants to do Overworld first. But the other possibility is Paradox having only the one dungeon left that he already bailed out of. If that Ice Rod is on Helmasaur King, that would be the most unfortunate thing for jkoper to have to deal with, because he could have finished that while he was there.
Yep. Yeah, Paradox has not been to pod yet, so Paradox will probably be full clearing pod if he heads there, but he will then have his third pendant.
And from that perspective, Desert Palace is a quick dungeon, so jkoper would be able to walk back to Palace of Darkness himself to clear that if necessary.
Paraduck's gonna get one more heart. Suddenly we went from low heart seed to a high heart seed, though.
Question in chat, where is Book? We don't know.
Yeah, we haven't
seen
seen
it
Book.
yet.
As far as we know, it's either on Ped, locked behind Ped, or in Ganon's Tower.
Yeah, and very often I've seen it in Ganon's Tower, so it could be there. Which would knock out, if that's the case, that would knock out the tablets as places to check, as long as we don't find the book. So you don't want to find the book, because that's 2 fetch quests. And at this point, in Paraduck's case, he already has 2 of the pendants, so he definitely doesn't want to find book now. He would have wanted that earlier for the fetch check.
Okay, well, there is Catfish for jkoper, or for Paraducks, I should say, and another, the Argus down for jkoper. It looks like Paraducks is actually heading down off of Catfish, which tells me either Graveyard Ledge and Bumper Ledge, or likely Graveyard Ledge or Bumper Ledge, since you usually want to mirror and flute from here to pod.
So jkoper mirroring back to the front here of, or say the overworld side of the dam. And where is he going to go? He's activating the flute. So where is he going on Swag Duck Air? He's going to go to the Kakariko Village.
Chain.
This is the
so we're yep. So we're gonna be getting Graveyard and Bumper Ledge from Paraducks and Smith Chain from jkoper. This is the last 2 sets of. Oh, we're also seeing because he hasn't done Bumper Ledge or Bonk Rocks at all yet. So so this is 2 of basically our last overworld spots left to check. Paraduck still has, I think, a couple more things to clean up. Well, not really, actually.
So here's Jeremiah the Bullfrog. We're going to take him to behind the hammer pegs. We're going to pull out the mirror. We're going to reflect on the situation a little bit. But first we're going to do hammer pegs.
Heart on the Graveyard Ledge.
A little bit of a different pattern on the hammer pegs here that I'm used to. Killing a couple chickens while we're at it. What is in hammer pegs? Hammer pegs is the book.
There's their book. Oh my
well, there we go. We're starting to run into some interesting things here.
Well, I would not be surprised if jkoper checks Ped now. Or very soon, assuming none of this is what he wants.
Well, he's going to get the blacksmith, and this could be the ice rod right here, but we have to let him walk up to the house, and typically they take your sword, you have to walk away, and you come back later, you can just go straight back in and get it. Anyway, in that situation, we're going to get our item. It is 20 bucks, so it is not the dwarves. At hour 27 in, we are still looking for the ice rod.
It is not on Bumper Ledge either. That was a piece of heart. So, purple chest, book locations.
Paraduck's getting the check of the Aghanim item right now, the Lumberjack Ledge, confirming that it is not important.
As pointed out, actually, someone in chat remembered that I had forgotten, actually, is jkoper still hasn't checked that big chest of swamp.
Oh, we're going to get a Bombo's tablet. We're going to get Bombo's tablet.
Yeah, he's going to do both. That's a good way to route this,
honestly. So if he had done the upper section, if he'd done the dwarf check before coming down to here, as I thought, he was going to do earlier, this would have led him to this sooner. So did he just leave the purple chest behind?
He did just leave the purple chest behind. jkoper, you're missing something.
Oh, I think there's a glitch related to this. I think that you can actually get it back.
Oh yeah, he's doing this thing right. I forgot about this.
I don't know how it works, but I have seen it happening before. So he just
basically, from what it's been explained to me, is it's a frame perfect that it checks things. Oh my goodness, and it's the ice. Never mind.
1 hour, 28 minutes, and 10 seconds. jkoper is in go mode.
Purple chest, such a meme.
Go ahead and explain now. Go ahead and explain.
Anyway, so the trick that jkoper uses there is that the game checks whether you have the purple chest. Someone will probably correct me if I'm explaining this wrong, but it checks to see if you have the purple chest in your possession, like a split second before it actually disappears from the map when you switch back to the light world. So like for 1 frame, basically, you're sitting there with technically having the chest in the light world, even though you left it behind, and you can check you can talk to the uncle in that time.
Uncle?
Yeah, Incoherent explaining it slightly better in chat. Yeah, not Uncle, the guy, the old man, whatever, the chest guy.
Gary. We call him Gary.
Gary, yeah, there we go. It's not a frame perfect? Okay, it might just be positioning based then. Like I said, I'm not... It's been explained to me once, and that was a couple weeks ago.
So for those who may have gone to get a coffee or something in the interim here, or whatever else you might be drinking this evening, we just had a situation where the book was located at Hammer Pegs, which was not relevant. We were about to get a tablet check, but jkoper also took the purple chest after clearing the dwarfs, which was just 20 bucks. Took the chest, left it for the glitch that allows you to get it open quicker with mirroring to the light world. And it turns out that the purple chest had our ice rod, and you know what? Forget the Bombos tablet at that point. The book was no longer needed. jkoper is now going to head back through Turtle Rock, and Paraducks is going to be getting his ice rod just a little bit behind jkoper, unfortunately, and that may be too much of a difference to overcome, but we will see. Paraducks is, of course, the season runner just as jkoper is. Everyone in the top 128 are really good runners, so anything can happen in this race. We don't know what's going to happen.
Yep, it's going to be within difference of different routing in Ganon's Tower, but jkoper definitely has the advantage.
Indeed, he definitely does.
That said, Paraducks is just about to get there. Oh, nope, they went... Never mind. Why do I say things?
Yeah, I'm going to get the Bombos first, it looks like. So we're going to get to see what's on the Bombos, and I actually started thinking it could be here if it wasn't on pedestal. But we're going to get a look at it right now, and we're going to have some roasted bat wings. And with that, we pray to the gods, and we get our 10 bomb pack that you can get in standard mode from the Uncle as a standard mode item for clearing for the castle.
Yep.
And then we're going to get Gary's Lunchbox Gary, and Paraducks cracks open a cold one and is now in go mode himself at 1 hour, 31 minutes, and 16 seconds.
Yep, so Paraducks is going to be basically the entirety of Turtle Rock behind.
At this point, yes, because he has to get back in there. So it's not the entirety, it's just a quick re-clear, I guess. Not a full clear, because he already has all the keys like jkoper did. But he does have to get to Trinex still. He is behind by all that time.
That is true indeed.
That's about 3 minutes, I would say, at this point. Maybe 4.
I don't think it's that long, but...
We'll see. Anyway, this means that we're going to have something happening in chat very, very soon. And for those watching on YouTube, you're not going to be able to see the flurry of numbers we're about to see in the live Twitch chat. But come join us sometime. You can play the game with us, because it's now time for the Ganon's Tower Big Key Guessing Game. There are 22 chests in Ganon's Tower, 1 to 22. And what we ask you to do in the Twitch chat is start putting numbers in chat and figure out where that big key is located. And if you can figure out the correct chest, you win a fabulous prize. Now, I just want to remind you that we don't take any numbers above 22. We don't take negative numbers. We don't take guesses of 0, and no fractions or decimals, please. So, Fredo, where do you think it is today?
Dang it, you just ruined my 3.14 joke. I just, whenever I'm on comm, I just like to say it's in...
I didn't hear that, sorry.
Rando Room is my guess.
Rando Room. What number do you want to go with?
Make me choose a number. I'll go with 9. Then.
9. I'll say 11, because always 11. And we will try to keep track of this as best as we can, because there are a lot of numbers. I think we have over 1,000 people watching today, so very, very active in there today.
I'm totally picking 7 next time I come with you, by the way.
I get it.
Okay, so we'll see if jkoper does the DM strat again. Looks like that's
looks like
where
might
he's...
be. Check number 1 is the torch, and we count it because we see it, whether he gets it or not. So 20 rupees.
Bob lives.
All hail Bob. Moving on to location number 2.
So the DM strategy for Ganon's Tower here is a strategy that was first used and popularized by someone named Dark Magician. And basically what he started doing, whereas the normal strategy for runners would be to go to the right side and grab the first 2 chests and then go full to the left side. Way back a couple years ago now, a few years ago now, he decided to kind of game the system a bit and start doing the route that jkoper is doing, getting the chest on the left side, which pretty much guarantees him a key, and then going over to the right side and doing the full right side. So this gave him a good advantage over runners by letting him get the big key on the right side, assuming the big key is on the right side. Ooh, jkoper got crapped.
Worth knowing that checks up to 7 have now been cleared, and it looks like he got a hand.
So yeah, more recently, since then, strategies have kind of evolved to where a lot of people will do right side first, especially if there is a key on this side. But it still can work out as a boon in case there's not a key on this side and you want to go on this side, which is what jkoper actually ended up doing, since there was no small key on the right side here. Avoided the hand that time.
So after he takes a KSMRA block, and this can also be done with the bomb, I believe, too. You just have to be very quick with it. But KSMRA block will get you to that switch, get in there, and there we go. So that will get us to checks number 8 through 11. There are some bombs. There is the big key. Check number 9 today, and we have to announce now the winner of the big key guessing game. And the first 9 I see, because I copied into a notepad so I would have it handy, we have jjoe36, who is the winner of today's big key guessing game. So congratulations. And Brandon, what does jjoe36 win today?
My love and adoration, because you chose the right number. Same as me.
Please enjoy.
That is non-refundable, sorry.
I didn't know it was purchased.
Shh. Also, Paraducks is making his way over to Ganon's Tower now. If he uses the same strats as jkoper did, I guess we will see what happens. It seems like Paraducks seems to be using the strategy of right side, if there is a small key, they'll go to the right side. But since there is no key, they might end up falling further behind. Either way, at this point, it's looking like a solid enough lead for jkoper here that he shouldn't lose. With Silver's butter sword, red mail, he's not going to be looking for anything on the way up, nor would he really need much on the way up, except for maybe.
Paraducks is doing a full right, so he's going to get it in one of the early checks. So if we were playing on no, he's going to actually mirror. He's going to go to the left.
Like I said, there's no key. Couldn't do it.
Yeah,
he wanted to.
Key. He had to. So yeah, you would have had to do either a Dark Magician or you would have had to do the left followed by the right. So Dark Magician was actually the faster strategy today.
If he does know what jkoper did the last round, he might just expect jkoper to be doing Dark Magician and end up just coming back to the right after Stalfos.
That might be what he does. He would have to gamble on it being in one of the chests further along, though, to pull that strategy. So let's see what he does. This is checks 4 through 7 for him now. And we've already done the game, but we can still play along with it.
Yeah, he's killing Stalfos, so that tells me he's going to continue.
He's continuing, yep. jkoper, meanwhile, is on the gauntlet, so it's going to be a little while before Paraducks gets his big key, unfortunately. jkoper is proceeding through the end of the gauntlet, final room of the gauntlet, going to culminate in a Land Mola's battle, which is the same as the one you would normally see in Desert Palace that Paraducks did earlier. The only difference is, see that statue taking pot shots at you? How rude.
Yeah, it surprisingly makes that fight much more difficult than the original. Though less so with Mirror Shield.
So now and jkoper now doing some of the nicest rooms to clear with the King of Samaria. One shot, in this case 2, and those Wizrobes don't survive.
It's always a beautiful room to be seen done correctly.
I'm guessing at this point we have a 141, 142, somewhere in that range as finishing time. So we should have jkoper most likely finishing in the next few minutes here. And assuming that he does hold on and not have any major mistakes, this will put him in a 1-1 tie with Paraducks. and this would force a game 3. So the stakes couldn't be bigger right now for him.
Yep. This is definitely looks like it's going to the game 3, which should be quite interesting. I do not think they have it scheduled yet, but I will check real quick.
I do not believe they do, but feel free to check on that if you wish. Meanwhile, jkoper are going to take us through Moldorm 2. Moldorm 2, not really much different than Moldorm 1, except for the platform we're fighting on. It strangely resembles the bat.
Yep, nothing.
Nothing, perfect. So, jkoper not going to open no Moldorm 2 chest. You don't need no sneaking Moldorm 2 chest. He has everything he needs. Gold swords, silver arrows. What more do you need when you're fighting a big pig?
Really, nothing.
Yeah, really. That's
even as it's 2 fairies now for backup.
Yeah. So welcome to Agonometry. This is a lesson that's conducted by everyone's favorite wizard, Agonum. And we're going to have 3 orbs flung at us, and we're going to try and hit them all back. We got 2 of them hit back this time. It is possible to get all 3, and the best cycle is a 2 cycle where you can get 3 and 3. In this case, we had a blue ball, so we could only get 2 on the second cycle. That means we have a 2, 2, and ooh, I thought I would have got that last one, but no, get him instead. 1 more should do it though, and that's it.
Also, we did find the powder behind the Armos. So
that was out of play today. Nice. Yeah, that was out of play. Interesting note. So jkoper is now off to the Big Pig. And that means that we have all sorts of funny things that Gan likes to talk about as we are, as we fall in to start the fight against him. And first, this bat's going to crash through the whole pyramid. And once this bat crashes through and leaves this cuckoo-shaped hole in the center of the pyramid, don't ask me why it looks like that, it just does. jkoper will fall in. What will Ganon say to us today? Such a ham, he always has to say something cool. He's talking about conquering the world, making monsters demonstrate his might. Okay, what might?
I didn't know Ganon liked parades. I appreciate Ganon more now.
I didn't know he had might, to be honest. Paraducks finding his big key. jkoper on phase 2 of the Ganon fight. Phase 1 was the trident toss, which didn't do much. And this phase 2 is the circle of bats. 6 hits in each phase, and you move on to the next phase. We're now on phase 3, temper tantrum mode, as I call it. Every time you hit him, he's going to pound the floor, hence the temper tantrum. But he likes to warp around sometimes to try to avoid you. You just have to know when he's going to stop and try to throw a fire bat at you, which is a circular fire bat that comes rotating out.
I mean, like that, exactly
like that.
I would say he has power. He just jumps and then the ground falls away. That's technically powerful. And he shoots.
Tremble at his might. No torch glitch because he was at the top of the screen. That's okay. We're going to lose a fire rod shot there, though. We're going to get a double off of this, I feel. No chance. That wasn't going to be a triple. No, I didn't think he had the room for it. So we're going to now have the Gan fight finished. And that is going to be GG for jkoper. All he has to do to tie this series is cross a 1x3 bridge successfully. Assuming he can do that, he will be moving on to a
not a guarantee
with Paraducks. Yeah, I know. I've seen it happen. But he does do it. And jkoper wins game number 2, ties the series 1-1 with official Esser all-time of 1 hour, 42 minutes, and 28 seconds. So that is 2 games down. They will have a game 3 not yet scheduled. See, maybe they'll have some information on that as we talk to him. But we will invite him now for an interview, and we will see what they think about not just this seed, but also that horrible first seed that we had going on as well. We will talk to him about that.
Indeed. Also, meow. Meow, 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 meow. Meow.
Meow? Meow?
Meow.
Meow. Okay, enough cat noises.
I mean, is there enough cat noises, really?
Perhaps not really.
It's like Paraducks is working on Moldorm 2. Didn't quite get the kills with the silver arrows, but we'll see how we get there.
Paraducks on 4 or 5 against tower right now. So we're going to go to the second to last torch puzzle, which these aren't really puzzles, just like the torches. Not much to think about here. You just have to figure out how to do it efficiently. And Paraduck's doing the upper, then right, and now doing the left, using the fall in the pit as his strategy. Gets a little bit of magic to help here, which he doesn't really need in this case. He can pick up a full magic jar if he needs it, but he picks that up so he doesn't have to pick it up. Which, if that makes any sense, good.
I'm just surprised that Squirtle manages to do that without accidentally putting out half the torches. Just all it takes is one accidental water gun.
Or ice beam.
Or ice beam. Pick up that nice quick magic refill. Couple dashes through Moldorm's tail. We head into AGA2 for the second time this seed.
Chad is commenting that it sounds like he was just that close to despawning Olafgan's tower. What Chad is talking about, I'll explain. You can actually go up the stairs on the exact frame that the door in the previous room closes. If that happens, you despawn Olafgan's tower.
Yeah, I've not had that personally happen to me, but I've definitely seen it happen in races before.
I've seen it a couple times. In a race is the worst situation, especially if you're ahead and the other runner is right behind you.
Ooh, almost got the triple there. Not quite enough there, but might be able to get a triple here. So close. Okay, so 4-round AGA2, not too bad at all. And we will watch Ganon rise up for the final time tonight.
Rise up.
Wait, is it? Nope, never mind. There's another race after this. Not the final time tonight. Stick around. There's another race after this.
Yeah, we'll get the schedule for you as we finish this race here. I do see jkoper in the SF channel, so I'll bring him in. Actually, he just joined us. jkoper, how you doing?
I'm good.
How did
Paradox is there too? So is he coming in?
Yep. He's not quite finished yet.
He's not quite finished yet. I know you have the invite from game 1. That's why he was able to join the setup, but we're going to wait till he's finished game 2. So,
okay.
Yeah. So while we watch the game fight, what were your quick thoughts on that seed, that second seed?
I mean, it was the same as the first seed.
That's what I was about to say. He's like, how do you feel about searching for the ice rod 2 seeds in a row?
Yes, getting a little tiresome, that's for sure.
Yeah, understandable.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, and I choked in the first seed. Should have had a tie at worst. Lots of little things I can point to in the first race in particular, but
And that's a very easy thing to do when you have a very, very close race and you're just on the losing end by a few seconds. You could always find any one thing in that race and just second guess yourself. I could have done this better. I could have improved this. And a lot of, when you're dealing with a close race like that, a lot of it is a mental game to stick to your, at the same time, you have to remember you're playing your game. You can't change your game too much. But I get what you're saying. Sometimes it can be difficult to deal with a very close loss like that. But anyway, Paradox is finishing the game fight, which is why I've been stalling a little bit here. We're going to bring him in at the same time as he is about to cross the line. And he is finishing with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 47 minutes, and 58 seconds. Get your GGs in chat for him. And let's bring him in to join us. As soon as he is available, he'll be able to chime in here. But he is with us in the channel right now. So,
meow, meow, meow. So yeah, so it's good on you for not letting that first match tilt you too much. I know I would have been having some issues in that second one, at least at the start, but you successfully navigated that second seed very well, I thought. I'm guessing you did figure out kind of the weird logic chain of hammer and mirror and flippers being, and lamp being kind of weird.
Yeah. Yeah, I knew that the mirror in particular wouldn't be behind the lamp or the hammer or the flippers, I guess.
Right.
Yeah, that ended up being the thing, and it looked like that's like I wasn't really sure because most people would just be doing Skullwoods and Thieves Town anyway. It just limited a lot of locations where the mirror could be.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was very easy to do Skulls and Thieves Town because they were both crystals. And,
Yeah, and exactly.
Yeah.
But both of you kind of went to Meyer after that, so I'm assuming both of you kind of caught on that Meyer was the next likely place that the mirror is going to show up.
Well, it was pretty easy to choose to go there as well since it was a crystal and clearable.
Yeah.
So
Also that.
Yeah.
The irony, of course, behind that is even though it was logically required, you probably could have done the seed without finding the mirror because in the end we just had to go to the smith chain, take the dwarf home, which would have required going back to the light world without the mirror, going back to your house and walking over to the village, then going back up to go to the dark world to grab the chest, going saving, quitting again, or going back to the light world, get the flute out, go over to Gary's, take them to the lunchbox, and go from there. So it would have been a little bit of a longer route, but it could have been done without the mirror.
Yeah, I would have been more than happy to find the ice rod.
Yeah.
Before finding the mirror.
Exactly.
Sure.
And Paraducks, I saw Paraducks just on mute, so I'll welcome him to the conversation. GG.
Welcome back. GG's. So you guys are tied 1-1 now. How's it feel?
The first seed doesn't feel like a win, to be honest. My execution was just terrible. The seed was terrible, and yeah, it was just a funny seed, and yeah.
I basically full cleared the first seed. There's a few things I didn't do, I suppose, but I can't name them off the top of my head anymore.
Yeah, I came in kind of late to that seed, but I did notice the major difference was Paraducks ended up just doing the full clear of ice of a swamp rather the first time in, whereas you had gambled on left side not having anything since you went there pretty early.
Yeah.
I have been given a question by the commentators from the first race. Mercer wanted to know, and he did give me a question for the first race. And this is for both of you, by the way. But more for jkoper. He's curious why, jkoper, you didn't go back in for the other 2 items in Swamp. He's actually wondering about that, because I think you left a couple items behind. I was interrupted by a phone call, and I missed that. But I think you left a couple items behind in Swamp. You didn't go back in. Was there a reason behind that?
Yeah, the first time because I had a lot of other stuff to explore yet, and those were relatively time-consuming compared to the other locations that I still had left.
Yeah, makes sense. This latest seed, you guys were actually in decent lockstep for a lot of the seed. jkoper did get the Moon Pearl way sooner, and that led Paraducks to doing Eastern a bit early, which led to some divergence. But just the way...
Yeah,
he
gave me the bow, so I went to Eastern pretty early.
Yeah, you guys actually got bow at pretty much the exact same time. It's just 2 different bows.
Oh yeah,
That's funny.
That was pretty entertaining.
It was pretty much a
jkoper found the bow, so so Paraducks missed that bow. Interesting. And then we saw Paraducks fall down. There's the other bow. So now they both have.
Yeah, that was a fun situation. Oh, jkoper got the bow. Oh, Paraducks got the bow. Wait a second, that's 2 different bows.
But yeah, so that led Paraducks to go on a wild. He ended up pretty much last locationing the, but then also had done EP. So basically, the difference was that he ended up doing Desert Palace after getting the mirror out of Meyer, where you went over and did Pod and Eastern. So one of you did Desert Palace, the other did Pod, and then you both converged on Ice Palace, and both of you did Ice Palace. Then both of you went to Turtle Rock. Then both of you more or less went to Swamp.
Yeah, about Swamp, I was debating going to do the Smith chain, and
yeah, we were actually
after, but I decided to gamble and go to Swamp early.
We were discussing that up here in the Sorry, not to interrupt you. Sorry, we were discussing that up here in the commentary as well. As jkoper was saying, as Palace, we were talking about the Smith chain, and we actually thought that we were trying to decide whether it's better to do that first or go Swamp Palace first. So obviously, with this format, the dungeon is favored because there's 8 items in there. But we were looking at the analysis of whether doing Smith chain on the way and ending that at Swamp Palace, then going into Swamp Palace might be more beneficial. It was definitely a little bit of a conversation we had on that. And this being a fairly new mode, I don't think everything's ironed out for that mode yet. There's still some things being figured out.
I think something that helped to make the decision for me was the fact that I didn't have powder yet. So
Yeah, because you would be abandoning that, but for me, that's one of those. It's like, you can just quickly flute and do it.
right.
That's true.
But it's technically less efficient without powder for sure.
Mm.
Yeah, so I figured that was a tiebreaker. Just making a play. I'm actually not sure that doing Smith Chain before Desert was the best play, like checks per time wise, but I just felt like he probably did Desert earlier, so he probably would have beaten me if it was in Desert. So
yeah, that's a fair call, and it was the case indeed. So, and also Paradox, was that kind of your ideology for doing Smith before Pod as
No, it was just a gamble. I wanted to do Pod at last, even though there's like 7 items there.
oh, so you never went into Pod at all?
Yeah, he had done
that's-
Eastern before Moonburl. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, he never did Palace of Darkness.
Yeah, so I did all but Helmasaur. I guess I'm at 163. I don't know what your checks were, if you got that already.
We'll have him up in a second here, and we'll see him too.
But yeah, it was. I mean, like I said, you effectively did roughly the same amount of things. Like both of you did pyramid stuff. Both of you did Smith Chain, obviously. Both of you did Swamp. Both of you did full clears of pretty much every dungeon. Both of you went to Turtle Rock at the same time.
Well, about a minute or two apart, I would say. But yeah, you were in there at the same time.
Yeah, Paradox said 169, but he also did full left side Ganon's Tower.
So if Ice Rod was in Turtle Rock, that would have been a really close race.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, as it was, you lost probably half of the time that you were behind just because he ended up doing Dark Magician and got the key on the right. Big key on the right side faster.
Oh,
And he already had a significant enough lead that it probably didn't really matter, but it was actually a bit closer than it seemed, is what I was saying.
All right. Well, good game. We'll have to talk about the third race. I'd like to do it tomorrow whenever you're available, if you can. But
yeah, tomorrow I'm available in the evening.
You're available in the
it's not
evening?
a problem.
okay, yeah,
Well-
pick a time whenever you want. I don't care.
Whatever gets scheduled, we'll definitely be happy to obviously we'll promote that when it comes up. Obviously, we certainly hope to see a really good game 3 out of this series. These were two really interesting races for the first.
Yep, and the winner of the next race will be going on fight Hitsuyon to get into the bracket. Definitely will also be a tough matchup for either of you, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm
But
kind of
doable.
glad not to race Christos again if I get there, just to have some variety.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I don't know how the brackets are going to be set up, but I'm going to assume, given how many people are up there, you're probably not going to bump each other for at least a little while. But I don't know. I'm not behind that. I couldn't comment on that. It'll be interesting if some of these early matchups end up coming up right away again.
Certainly could.
We get,
thanks, guys, for the restream and commentary and everything.
No problem.
Yeah.
Thank you for racing. We appreciate you guys showing on your race. Any last thoughts from either of you before we wrap?
Sneak peek of the what option you're changing, maybe, Paradigm?
I don't have any idea for now. We'll see. Maybe
Fair enough.
Maybe just a fast cannon for the last, something little faster than what we've done here.
This is almost a fast race. We were hoping.
It would have been a PB for me if the ice rod was like in Eastern or something, but yeah, that didn't happen. So
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you for racing, guys. We're looking forward to Game 3. Thank you to It's a Demo for tracking for us today. as well as Speed Gaming for restreaming for us. And thank you to my co-commentator, Cyclone. Go ahead and take us out, sir.
I wanted to say, first of all, I want to talk very quick about the schedule because there is a race coming up here as well. So I'm going to talk about the schedule very quickly. Make sure you follow our tracker and our runners, of course. Make sure you follow our runners first and foremost. Make sure you follow, as said, our tracker Itsu Domotsu. I can't say that. I apologize. And I'm Cyclone, of course, or Cyclone GU. And with that said, stay tuned on this channel because coming up next on this channel is Jay Nisher versus F. Coughlin. The race I see has just started in the last few minutes, so that will be coming up on the channel very, very soon with a 20-minute delay. And that will be coming up right here very shortly. So other than that, there is a race going on in Speed Gaming 4. That is between Sabotender and the Sabin. That is ongoing. That's been started about 9:20, so that's been on for about 45 minutes now or so. You can also bring that one up if you're interested as well. Those are the last 2 races of the night, and there'll be more races tomorrow, including a lot that are not assigned channels yet. We'll keep an eye on speedgaming.org/schedule or speedgaming.org/ALTTPR to get more information on those. Other than that, stay tuned. We're going to see Jay Nisher and F. Coughlin coming up next on this channel. Thank you for watching. May not all your seeds be pet seeds, and I'm going to give you, Freda, the final word. Take us out.
Thank you again. Looking forward to the next race. And thank you everyone for watching and joining us today. Have a wonderful night. Goodbye.